Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today we have another great topic from James Wright. Now, I've been very impressed with what James Wright is doing over in the UK, and one of the things I will say is very interesting and man after my own heart is making accounting simple, because regardless of what field you're in, you're going to need to understand some basics of accounting. So I'm excited to bring James on, but before we do, check out the intro and we'll be right with you.
Welcome to another episode of the Finance and the Accounting Show. This is the place to go for small business owners. If you're looking for a great way to understand the finance and the accounting side of your business, you're in the right place. So stay tuned and enjoy the episode.
Now, without further ado, let me bring James on. James, how are you?
Thanks very much for having me, Terrell. I'm very well, thanks. How you doing?
I am great. Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on. I mean, maybe selfish reasons for myself because I'm in accounting and finance, and you hear all these stereotypes about accounting or about accountants. So I'm like, you know what? Let me bring on another very down-to-earth, cool guy on. Let's just talk about it.
Well, so the viewers know as well. We didn't come dressed in the same thing. We didn't have this plan for the blue shirts. But yes, I'm more than happy to break it down, and so the viewers can understand my sort of background and how I try to help people out around the world.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how did you find your way into accounting?
Well, I went to university as an 18-year-old, and before that, lots of people asked me, well, do you need to be good at maths to go into accounting? And I got a C grade, which is sort of average in the UK. But I went to university. I really enjoyed it. I got a first class honours. And then after that, I went and worked in America. So I worked in North Carolina at a summer camp, learned basics of bookkeeping. And now I currently work as a senior lecturer at the University of Lincoln, where I teach students from 18 years old up to, shall we say, some mature students as well. But all those skills that I honed working in an accountancy practice, looking after apprentices, I just try and break it down to the easiest way of putting it out there so that anyone, no matter what your background is, you should be able to get some of the concepts.
Awesome. Now, did you find it much different when you came over to North Carolina as far as the way people talked about accounting or the way they approached it, or was it pretty similar?
Well, I worked at a summer camp, so Blue Star Camps, if anyone's heard of it, who's watching here. And I was working in the lovely business office, and you say, oh, hello, my name is James. I'm from England, and I work in the accounting office. And they go, oh, I'm not sure about if I could do that job. And it was only myself working there in the team, and one other colleague of mine. And yes, I always see it as like a fear that people have been told about numbers and money and then accounting. It's quite a scary topic, which I try and again break it down. It's okay. It's just one of those things. It's like spiders or snakes. You get used to them. It's okay.
It's one of those things that I always talk to some of my, friends that are in accounting and finance roles, and I'm like, at what point or how did even the fear of accounting come into play for people? Like, where did that come from?
I think I always find it's with calculators and people in exams, and they just don't like exams for it. But once you have a proper conversation, or you watch, say, a YouTube video or whatever it may be on accounting, and you realize how important it is to your own life, then that's when the switch, then you start to go, I need to learn this stuff because it's going to benefit me.
Absolutely, because I think even for myself, when I started, really getting my hands into accounting, it dates back to high school where my high school was doing this. They were doing this experimental project. They called it the Academy of Finance, where they would allow high school students to take kind of basic bookkeeping and kind of some, additional economics classes. And to me, I just gravitated to it. Like, man, this makes sense to me. And from there, I think it's like where I really started to see how accounting was connected to pretty much everyday life. Like that, there wasn't an area of life that I thought about that I could think about that didn't get impacted by accounting. So, from your perspective, what really helped you to start to connect the dots between accounting and the rest of life?
Oh, well, where do we start? I mean, when I went to university, or the college equivalent for for the US, I was in that park of going, oh, I really like business, I really like economics, I really like how organizations work. And I did a bit of research into the chartered bodies, and so many CEOs and senior directors are all accountants, because you have to know about all the figures, how it's analyzed, how it interacts with so many different areas. And that was one of the first differences between me picking, say, a business major or a degree, and then I going down the accounting and finance route on there. So that's one of the first things for, should we say, our younger viewers out there today, that it might help them. But then following on from that, working now, and I have loads of friends who want to start up their own businesses, and I get messages all the time saying, James, how do I start? What are the sort of implications? I'm really good at making chairs, and that's my business on that. So brilliant. Right, okay, talk me through it, and then we have to set up the processes and get them a bit more comfortable. But it's all depends on the individual watching, but don't be scared of it. It's okay.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. Now, how was it going from, so you went from university, then you went to working in accounting, and then now as a senior lecturer, how was it making that transition back to kind of the lecture perspective of accounting?
When I worked in practice, so producing accounts, working in tax as well, I used to look after all the apprentices and new employees who joined us. So you're working side by side, training them from start to qualifying, which was a really pleasing and really rewarding role. And then the opportunity came up to go back to actually lecture. And again, you've got students who have come from a variety of backgrounds. And I'll be honest with you on here, some students who have had no accounting experience whatsoever. In fact, starting from naught on there, and then guiding them through the whole course and program, and they go and work for the big four firms, PwC, EY, Deloitte, and you see them flourish in their career. And that's the real purpose which business owners have. That's what their vocation is, what they really want to go into, and that's where I wake up every day, and it's every day is very much different. But I really enjoy it, and that's one of the big things I'd advocate for anyone listening as well.
Definitely. I mean, because that's very interesting when you talk about people who have, zero accounting background. I mean,
Mhm.
when they have zero accounting background, do you find that, they're a little bit more open to learning it, or do they have that bit of fear or apprehension or feeling like, well, since I don't have a background, then I can't do it? Or how do you find those students kind of, gravitate to it in the beginning?
Well, again, it's a real mixture, but by what's their sort of DNA before what they've come to university before they meet me. Where if they're completely new and they really want to get stuck in, then the results are they will. Accounting is always trial and error and fail, and we go again and we get it right. And it's a process that you learn, and with the softwares out there, and some people are really good at that, versus others that are a bit more sort of there's the line in the sand, and they go, oh, I must get it right, and I must get it to the certain decimal place on there as well. So for anyone out there, maybe you're just starting out yourself, and you've maybe done a question, you've clicked on this and gone, oh my word, how do you do this? There is, in every accountant's training, there is always a little flick of the switch where they don't get double entry bookkeeping, they don't get the profit and loss income statement, and then all of a sudden the trial balance starts to balance, the balance sheet starts to balance, and then that's it. And that's the rewarding part. So if you haven't hit that part yet, it's going to come. Just keep practicing. That's the main thing.
Awesome, awesome. So how many years have you been a senior lecturer?
Well, I'm going to show my age now, but 4 years of it now, and I've been starting to record videos online now for just over a year. I'm actually coming up to my anniversary of the 8th of June, where I sat on my floor with my books behind me, and I placed my first video out there, where it's just setting the ball rolling. So it's been a wild ride ever since, should we say? Very interesting.
Now, a lot of people ask me about, like Terrell, how'd you get into like creating the videos? And one of the things that I start to get from a lot of people is like this fear of like, hey, it's not gonna if I get started, it's not gonna be good. Like I want it to be perfect. And my opinion is, your first ones probably aren't going to be your greatest. But just getting the ball rolling, what was your perspective kind of going into your first one?
Oh, honestly, short and sweet. And if anyone's got a pen and paper out there, just to write this down, that the fear of failure was not as big as the fear of regret. That if I didn't do it, and true story, this Trell, I'll let your viewers into an insight that I had to move house a couple of times, and from actually moving house, I kept all my books in my mind. It was in there, but I just had the fear of putting it out there to say, oh, what will the world think for it? And then when I posted out the first videos, you can see it. It's a case of I was sat on the floor, the volume wasn't particularly good. Also, one of the funny ones was this room wasn't painted, so this was having multiple colors on, but I just recorded it anyway and put it out. I'm still learning as well, but it's a case of whatever industry sector, whatever you're interested in, just give it a whirl, give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? I'm not sorry if Dr. Pepper are listening now, but yes, think of it like that.
I totally agree, because now when I look back on kind of those rough days where my lighting wasn't bad, or like one of the things that I had to learn is not to wear shirts with patterns in it because it didn't come off good on the camera. To where those were like little things, as I think back on it, I'm like, man, I can laugh about those things now. Because like I said, it was just a journey of that trying,
Mm.
failing, adjusting, tweaking things, and it's just learning to laugh at myself. So, thinking about that, of laughing at yourself, have there been any times in since you started recording that you were like, you know what, that's a funny moment, to where it's like, why did I do that?
Well, with anyone who's interested in video and editing, you can have these sort of ring lights up there. And I was recording one video, and the ring light fell off, to which I tried to grab it to then hold it up. And I was 40 odd minutes into this video, and I just said to people who were watching, obviously it was recording at the time, I'm really sorry, but we're 40 minutes in now. This is important stuff. So I'm just going to put it back. I'm not very good at editing, so put it back and then we'll carry on. And usually as well, for a good interview tip, or for anything on here, just have I have in some of my videos at my cup of tea on here. We go, quick break, regain your thoughts, clear your mind. And I do videos with my tea, and people think, oh, James, that's James, who's the accounting lecturer, who drinks tea and coffee in his videos and everything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, honestly.
No, I think that is amazing, because it's funny how, like, what I found, even in doing some of that stuff, to where there's little things that I do that people like, it's almost like it makes the video memorable. Like, oh, Terrell had a bottle of water, or hey, he was drinking some kombucha, or whatever it was. And it's just like, wow, you guys remembered that about that video?
Yeah, well, but again, it comes down to, and one thing that anyone going away from this video should look into is your actual personal development and mindset change as well. So just waking up every day and just saying, wow, today I'm really excited for today, versus just, oh, it's another day. And I think once you start getting some momentum, I always find that just that little start, if it's you're writing a book, writing that first sentence, or if you're training for a marathon, whatever it may be, it might be just that first mile, or putting on your shoes. Just try it, and it will build. Trust me on it. That's the main thing.
Awesome, awesome. And now, speaking of, the amazing videos and the content that you're putting out, where can people go to find it if they want to check out some of your awesome content?
Wow, well, I mean, who wouldn't? But I'm gonna be doing well. Actually, we'll get onto the serious stuff first of all. So you can put in, and you can see, whoop, at the bottom here. Oh, there it is. Look at that, beautiful. James Wright, ACCA. Pop it in on YouTube or Instagram, and you get access to all of my free videos. And I have been doing some TikToks. I don't know if are you on TikTok, Terrell, at the moment?
I haven't been on TikTok yet. We'll definitely talk about that, because I'm interested to get your thoughts on it.
That's all right. I am on TikTok, where I get requests from accounting students around the world. They ask me questions and I answer them. And it's amazing the reach on there. But YouTube and Instagram are the main two. All my videos, all my materials are free. And I'm going to be doing a 30-day course of a breakdown of everything that you need to know, sort of an accounting 101 on there. It's highly requested. So I'm going to have a week and record away. So anyone who's watching away wants to learn a bit more, feel free to check it out.
Awesome, awesome. That is amazing. That's amazing. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about is, in 2020, you received an award. And so, uh, huge honor. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I, I don't like to flatter myself particularly too much, or anything, but I was kindly awarded the Public Sector Lecturer of the Year award for the UK for PQ magazine, which was very flattering. It was very nice, and I must say the evening was again very good. But it's all those little details that you do in private that nobody sees, and that's one of the main things I want to get across from people who are watching this. That all those replies that I sent to people on LinkedIn, all those messages that I sent out, all those posts that you put out that people see, it's just, you may think of it as just like a little thing and you go, oh, what's the point? But honestly, it just accumulates over time and you're just doing your best. That's it. Every day I was just trying different things and failing at different things. And, if you grab a load of mud and throw it at the wall, some of it will stick, some of it will fall. So, yes, that's the main thing. Just try and just give it a whirl. Do your best.
Awesome. Well, definitely congrats on that again. Definitely well deserved. So please continue the great work there.
Wow,
Now,
I'll do my best.
now, before we wrap up, we have a lot of small business owners that watch the show, and many of them don't have a background in accounting.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, like that, you have, several friends now at this stage in life that are trying to start businesses and asking questions. So, I always like to wrap up every interview. What's two pieces of advice you would share with small business owners based on your experience, what you've learned, and what you've seen?
Right. Okay. Pen and paper at the ready. After working 3-4 years with business owners in the UK, and these will all be transferable. First things first, you've got to separate out your business accounts from your personal accounts. That is absolutely paramount. And when you receive money into your business account, don't just go spend it straight away. There will be taxes, there will be payments, be costs. Okay, so that is one of the fundamental things. The second thing is actually trying to educate yourself, and through your accountant, through your advisor, whatever it may be, understanding what is actually allowable, what you can spend money on, and what is disallowable, what you shouldn't do, because then this links into how you actually manage your taxes. So this is where you can really add value to your pension contributions, actually you manage the costs within the business and maintaining the longevity of it. With the main final thing is, what are you going to do when you come to sell the business as well in the future? Lots of business owners forget about when they're going to sell it in the future, what state's it going to be in, and also freeing up your time so that potentially, if you want to actually pay someone to actually run it for yourself, so that you've got your greatest asset back, which is your time. Because I know so many business owners that spend 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week, whatever it may be, 7 days a week. There's a really good book on this from one of my mentors. And Charlie, if you're watching, I'll tag you in this video. Entrepreneurial Happiness, Charlie's book on there, absolutely fantastic read. I'd highly, highly recommend it. His name's Charlie Reading, and you can find it online as well. So those would be my main tips overall for it, and so that you get the joy in your business. That's the main thing, rather than it being a sort of heartache, which unfortunately it can be in some cases if not correctly managed.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. And again, what's the name of that book again?
Entrepreneurial Happiness, really good book, blue cover, Charlie Reading, very nice chap as well.
Perfect, perfect. Well, James, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you, and continue to great success.
Pleasure's all mine, and thank you for everyone who's tuned in today as well. Feel free to drop me a message, and I hope you enjoy the videos.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Finance and Accounting Show. If you like what you heard, don't be selfish. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and then share this with a friend because you know a business owner that could definitely use this insight. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and turn on the notification bell so you get all the updates when we release a new episode.